Brad. It's good to see you.
Nice to
Thanks.
see you.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing to have a conversation. So before we go back and forth with the Q&A, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, I'm a storyteller, brand builder. I help clients figure out different organizations, figure out what their brand story is, and then figure out how to best put that out there in the world so that they can inspire their desired reactions, whether that's buying more of something, doing more or less of something, voting a certain way, whatever it might be. I'm trying to get, we'll try to get people to do.
How much work have you done in the nonprofit arts world?
In the specific non-sector, nonprofit as a whole, quite a bit, but looking specifically in the arts, a handful here and there. Always enjoyed doing it. Done stuff. Obviously, we had talked earlier about the work we did for Pro Musica many years ago. Done things for some museums along the way, other music groups, whether it's performing orchestral dance. It's helping along the way. The whole concept of work for the nonprofit. We were doing something for the greater good. Always makes the effort put into the marketing that was more rewarding. Whether it's arts or some sort of social service, always enjoyed doing these things.
Yeah, so I'm approaching this from the lens of aging audience, lack of Gen Z, millennial engagement, audience shrinking in general. And so I've been focusing the last, many months specifically on how the arts should think like brands.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you delve in a little bit about what it means to think like a brand? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think first we got to start with what is the definition of a brand, and the definition I use, it sounds a little academic here, but it's the cumulative results of all the interactions your target audience has with or about your organization. So that's buying your product, thinking about your product, talking to other people about their organization, hearing other people talk about your performances. Whatever you do, it's that cumulative results of all of those interactions and thoughts. And everyone should think of their organization as a brand, because that's, and another word for that is just your reputation. And what are people thinking about your organization? What's the reputation? What's the brand? And when you think about things that way, it impacts everything that we do, not just your market, or not just your marketing communications. It impacts how you present yourself in social media beyond just the marketing pieces of it. It's what your lobby looks like if you own your own facility or rent your own facility. It's the choices of performances or exhibits that you put on. All these things, add up to what your brand is. And I think the temptation for a lot of arts organizations, because they get so driven by their calendar, they start becoming an organization that markets events or markets performances or markets exhibits. And you can easily lose the bigger brand in that experience. And you can lose control over what you want your organization to be known for and thought of if all of your attention is spent on this exhibit and that performance, because then your brand gets even more conflated with the exact events that you have going on. And while those events are a very important part of your brand, and possibly even the biggest part of your brand, you still want to make sure that the organization as a whole has a reputation within your target audience, whether that's within your city, within your state, within the nation, the world, if you're not taking a large organization.
I think one thing when we talk about audience engagement is it possible to market to the audience you have? So think of subscribers, and we see subscription rates shrinking as well, especially coming out of the pandemic. So I say market also to the audience you want. Is it possible to do both? Can you?
Yeah, it is. And I think that comes down to finding what that this word gets used a lot in marketing, and different people use it to mean different things, but I like to call this shared passion. You know, you as an organization are passionate about a long list of things. Your customers are passionate about a long list of things. And you can divide those audiences into two categories: existing audience members and potential audience members. And look at what all three of those groups are passionate about, and figure out where those Venn diagrams overlap. But where's the overlap of those circles? And that's where you can focus your attention. That's where you can focus your messaging. And that's where, and that kind of stuff is as much as what you exude is what you say. That's as much of an attitude as it is the words on the sheet or the colors that you choose or anything like that. It's what do you exude throughout? What is your brand essence? And that if you can really drive that based on what they're all passionate about, then I think you succeed. Your tactics might vary a little bit for your existing subscriber base that might be 55 plus versus your desired attendees that might not subscribe but might come on a regular basis that might be in their 30s. The tactics you use to reach them might vary, probably less than we want to think. Those audiences aren't quite as different as we often think they are, but I think it's figuring out what they all have in common, and it's something that you authentically have in common with them. If you can connect on those passion points, then you can market to anybody, and suddenly some of those demographics don't matter as much because you're focusing on the psychographics.
Yeah, and so I've been also the last 6 months or so been really honing in on millennial Gen Z habits. Where do they get their information? Are they engaged in the arts? What experiences are they interested in? And surprising to me, a lot of the 40 and under are not on multiple social media channels like perhaps I am, or on social media at all, or just on one channel. And then, as we all know, that social media tracks our habits. So if they're not currently engaged in participating, experiencing arts, they're likely not going to get that information on their feed. So if you had a nonprofit arts client and I just shared that with you, can you throw out an idea or two on how you might suggest a method or channel for reaching that 39 and under group?
Yeah, I mean, look at that age group. The biggest influencer on them is, and dating sites don't call it this, but it's word of mouth. It's referrals, it's testimonials, it's reviews, and it's the unofficial version of those as well. It's their friends sharing where they've been. So while they might not be multi-channel social media users, they probably are a heavy user of a particular channel where their social group is. And so I think one of the big pieces of growing any arts organization, or really any brand at all, is figuring out how to turn your current users into your ambassadors. If you can, and sometimes it's just asking. I mean, if you're standing up front at the beginning of a play, getting ready to, just kind of open the show as an executive director or creative director at a dance performance, and you're up there, go ahead and overtly ask people, before the night's over, please, share on social media what you experienced tonight. And get a chance to leave a Google review. There's a QR code in the program. Please leave us a review. Just ask for those people to become your ambassadors. And then and also at the same time, overtly investigate the influencers. That might not be an overt major national influencer that we often think of when people talk about social media influencers. It could just be a local person who has a couple thousand followers and happens to, by some coincidence, be a fan of your arts organization. Send them a t-shirt, send them some free tickets, get them to show up and express it. And I think finding those people to become your ambassadors, whether it's officially or inadvertently, will do as much good as anything else that we could do. But the other piece of it is probably creating content that is, when you think of social media, you often, because once we learn that social media can be a good marketing tool, all of us in the marketing world stop thinking of social media as anything other than a marketing tool. And I think a piece of the puzzle that's missing is using it as an additional venue. And by using social media as an additional venue, you're putting good content out there that's getting consumed specifically for that purpose. And you created it specifically for that purpose. So like if you're a music performance or something, if you're a dance organization, then you normally do 8 performances a year. Well, next year do 10, but 2 of them choreograph, concept, and produce them solely for social media. Do things that only the camera, you can only do on camera that you can't do in real life. You just put that stuff out there and think of that as a way to, from your mission standpoint, that's getting your art out there. But it's also working as a marketing tool, positioning you as a creative organization that people just want to have a greater connection to.
Yeah, those are great ideas. And so I'm going to kind of draw from your past because I want to look forward. You and I connected, you shared that a Pro Musica ad that you worked on, 18, I don't even know how many years ago.
7 years ago, yeah.
I'm curious what the mindset was, if you can recall, in creating that, and where have you seen marketing come from there? And I'm going to touch a little bit, I'm going to throw the word status quo in because I think we have a lot of complacency out of change is hard. And so we see a lot of status quo marketing or outreach. Can you touch a little bit on going back to that Pro Musica ad and what you are all creating?
Yeah. So we had the opportunity to produce this ad for Pro Musica, and Magic Mullen and I, everyone talked to very well, sorry, but he and I were sitting in a room, and we decided we were looking at it from what is Pro Musica, not trying to market a specific performance or even a specific season. And we wanted, what is it? What does it feel like to experience this type of music? We came up with idea after idea after idea, some of which were just absurdly expensive to produce, and some very simple. And then kind of ended up with this kind of Rube Goldberg-esque machine that our boss at the time, Laura Summers, connected us with the artist David Butler, and we all collaborated with Artie Isaac, who was the owner of the agency we were looking at the time. And the whole goal here was to produce this thing that felt like it felt to go see a concert. And we really wanted to focus on that, going to go see Pro Musica, and not just hear it. Because when you think about the tagline at the very end of the spot, it says music like you've never seen before. And that was actually a debate. Or like, it should say here, shouldn't it? But no, we want them to go and experience this. So we want to say it's like they've never seen before. But actually, you're there. It's almost like you're closing your eyes and you're hearing the music, and it's the imagination and the creativity. And the folks at Horizon produced it, Mark Rigsby and Don Lee, they captured that as well. And we all collaborated to make this fantastical thing. It was a piece of music that Pro Musica had recorded the year before. But it wasn't even something that was going to be in this upcoming season, and that didn't matter because it was all about what is the personality, what's it feel like what's the experiential way of looking at this music, and that's what we wanted to communicate. Not buy tickets for next Thursday, not buy subscriptions in this year. Just do that at other times. We'll communicate those specific calls to action at a different time. Right here, we will decide to say, this is unique. This is not like normal music. And I think when you get into the habit of continually promoting seasons and continually promoting events, it's pretty hard to make this theater company's performance of Shakespeare look that much different than this theater's performance of Shakespeare, or whatever it is you're doing. If you can make it about the experience and what makes your organization unique, including what events you put on. And I think you accomplish positioning your organization as something unique, and hopefully that's what you're going for. Because you like every other orchestra or every other ballet company or every other museum, well, not only could I go to any other one, I could probably just you without going to any of them. That's what you
Yeah.
probably do.
Yeah. So I'm a couple things. You know what the fear of missing out is? FOMO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm working on, how do organizations go from no show to FOMO,
Yeah. No,
right?
I like that mindset.
And in that is often when we see promotion, it's exactly what you're saying. Here's Wicked or Charles Dickens, or we can go through a myriad of performances, right? Here are the dates, go get your tickets. We often focus looking at the stage.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other hand, we talk about when we're advocating for the arts, that the arts uplift,
Yeah.
right? And I say, well, we need to get away from that. A bra uplifts, right? Or
Okay.
at least we hope it does.
Yeah, this one's job.
But the arts are foundational, and the arts are creative at the forefront of innovation and all of that. How do
Mm-hmm.
we show experience? That
Mm-hmm.
would be, for me, it's more than looking at the audience. It goes back to what you were saying about influencers or word of mouth, all
Yeah.
of that. And so again, what are some ideas or what do you look at now in marketing today, regardless who your brand is? And how do you best capture what you gain from consuming that product?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, there's two folds to that. One is trying to make yourself appear that your brand is in all the right places with all the right people. And that probably includes making sure you are communicating the things beyond your performances. That means communicating the outreach programs you have with the local schools. That means putting on free shows outside the North Market. That means doing all of those things that make your arts organization somewhat omnipresent in your community. And even more so, make it feel like all the right people, whatever right people is, all the right people are actual things. And again, that gets back to that influencer mindset. Getting people there, getting people talking about that they are there, giving people easy vehicles to be your inadvertent ambassadors, creating content that's easy for them to share and that they want to share, even if it's not specifically, here's a violinist doing this one really awesome thing. It's not even going to be part of any show. It's almost like showing Tiger Woods bouncing a golf ball in his club that became so popular a few years ago. I mean, that's nothing to do with anything, but
Right.
it showed this connection, and how do you it was also something so unique that people wanted to show it and share it. So if someone's garbling while they're singing opera, then let's show that. It's not really any of the shows, but it's something that the world will want to share. Anything like that, showing shots of, think about the Met Gala or any great opening that happens at a show, at a museum, or any fundraiser. Encouraging people to show up in unique outfits that are going to get shared on social media. Anything that you can do that can create things that people want to share will get it to the point where people feel that they want to consume it too, if it's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
And that's the key to all of this. And part of that requires creating content specifically for the sake of being shared in the social media world and shared in any way you want to share it, whether that's media releases to the local press or on social media, but having it done specifically that way so that it's not just here's a clip from next week's performance. It's now here's something that was made specifically for this purpose.
Yeah, and so again, my lens too is always this advocacy. I'm coming at it from an advocacy standpoint, which to me there are multiple audiences that we advocate um, toward about the relevancy of the arts, of the impact of the arts.
Mhm.
And I say, too much we focus on the performance and not on the process. And the
Mhm.
process is where the magic happens. That's where individuals are learning real life skills. That's where breakthroughs come if you're dealing with art therapy or dance or music. And so it's exactly what you were just talking about, which is don't just focus on the performance, focus on the process that it gets there.
Mhm.
We all understand when you're going to be a surgeon and you imagine the thousands of hours you're putting into perfecting your craft as a surgeon or
Mhm.
a lawyer or scientist, but we don't often talk about or show the thousands of hours that creatives put into honing their craft. And so
Yeah.
oftentimes it's thought of as, oh, it's the arts, my daughter could do that. It's a frivolous hobby, right? Rather than
Mhm.
it's a serious profession that takes thousands of hours of thinking outside the box and being innovative.
Yeah, and I think part of it's also helping people understand how to appreciate it. And part of that is showing all the work that goes into it, showing the little kids practicing, showing the older kids practicing, showing the adults practicing. Thinking of music, dance, or live music. Also, like from a visual art standpoint, instead of if you're a museum and you've got a great Saguli piece you want to show, you could just show a good picture of a great piece, or it could show a series of great photographs of that great piece, a type of this blue, and here's where these two colors are intersecting. Here's pulling back and showing it in helping them to understand the appreciation, showing the background of the artist who created it, giving some education on whether it's who wrote the piece or who choreographed it or the life of these people who are dedicating dedicating their life to these arts. And obviously, most of them are not making a ton of money, so they're also working at this deli, and they're also giving lessons of 5 days a week to kids, and they're also doing this and just showing their passion for it and making that personal connection. Because people invest their time and their money in people and brands that they know, like, and trust. And if we can get past that we're an audience and you're doing a show, and I'm a person walking through the museum, you're the person from some other part of the world from thousands and hundreds of years ago that made something. It's like, no, these are things, these are other humans experiencing human things, and there's no more great shared human thing than art. And showing that, and again connecting on that passion, and making people feel like, and this is true, making people realize and feel like they are making the world a better place by buying a ticket or donating to the annual drive or buying a season, subscribing for the season, helping them realize that by doing that, you're making the community, making the world a better place. And you're supporting these artists, and these artists are doing things that are making your community a better place. That's all part of the story, I think.
Yeah, and that's great. And so I'm reminded, we both have a long history in storytelling and marketing. And oftentimes when you look at constrained budgets,
Mhm.
that's probably a budget line that gets the least amount of investment in there.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to an organization that just feels like, you know what, that's great. We'll just continue to buy our Facebook ads and our Instagram ads, and we're just going to keep churning out the content because I just can't really see investing any money in storytelling or marketing. How does an organization capture or understand the return on that investment, and that it is something in a day where we're competing with Netflix and TikTok and any streaming channel, multiple entertainment venues? How do you
Mhm.
stand out in the crowd and understand that that is something that really needs to be invested in?
Yeah, I think there's two parts of it. One is realizing that the real investment is an investment of time and not an investment of money. but it's both. It's, to really do it right, it is taking the time of your involving the time of your artists, and it is involving the uh, time of your executives and your front office people trying to figure out how to do this and committing time to that and realizing we're going to give up some rehearsal time to shoot this video this week and all of those types of things. But probably the other piece of it is your board and it is your funding sources. And from the start, you're marking money to this investment. And most of these boards are made up of people who have success in the business world and they understand their business needed marketing to succeed. And if you can earmark those dollars and build those partnerships along the way, then you start to realize it's just part of the business. I mean, you wouldn't run the studio without air conditioning. You're not going to run it without marketing. And just figuring out which ones are working. It's always the challenge of, especially if you're not doing the status quo marketing, because you can pretty much say, if we send out X number of these pieces, we've always get X percentage of subscribers. Like it's really easy to do that stuff. But that's a little bit more of that status quo. It takes a little more courage and a little more flexibility to do something that can blow things up. To take the time and the investment of money and time and creativity to create something that is going to break through, that is going to be shared, that is going to be appreciated and engaged with. Those things are harder to predict which ones are going to flop and which ones are going to take off. And that probably takes as much of a mindset of that's part of why we exist, and thinking about those things as art, and part of putting your message out there. You're just putting it out there through a different medium than the stage that you are way on.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier about, people will engage when they trust a brand or there's that familiar relational kind of experience, which then has me think, as I'm listening to you, I think about consistency is also key when you're marketing, right? Because I don't know, is there a statistic or is there a length of time in any campaign, branding, awareness, marketing, whatever you want to call it, storytelling campaign, where it takes time to get people's attention and to latch on?
And it always get back to the whole status quo type of thing. The more mundane a tactic is, the more often they have to see it. If it's amazing, I don't have to see it once or twice, and then I get it. And if it's something that is good, it's taking a while to remember it, connect it to a brand. But there is a consistency, and the challenge is that balance between consistency and uniqueness. And so you figure out what are the consistent things, whether that's all of your pretty little things, like every photograph from a practice is in black and white, every photograph from a performance is in color. We do things with a higher contrast, all these photographic style things. It could be we always put a frame on things. We always have our icon. We're always really educational. We're always really conversational. We're always really highbrow. We don't use any words. We totally let the performance work. We use a lot of words and we really focus in on the story. Because a brand is cumulative, you got to figure out what pieces and parts you want to use to build it. And some of those pieces you want to be as consistent as possible, but no one wants to live in a brain block bunker. That's what we want to try to make sure we're creating there. Is these things need to be each and of themselves unique, and interesting and entertaining. But where can you fit the consistency in? And, you talk about those statistics, and I used to say you needed to see an ad 3 to 5 times. Well, at that point, in time when those statistics were being studied and put out there, we were being exposed to a fourth as many messages as we're being exposed to now. So does that mean our things have to be seen 12 16 times. I don't know what the real number is. And I know that if I create something average, you got to see 16 or 20, 30 times before you remember it. If I make something awesome, maybe you only have to see it once or twice. So I think it has as much to do with the quality as it does the quantity, but you have to get to a critical mass first. You know, then you have to get it seen by enough people and consumed by enough people to accomplish that goal.
That's great. Brad, you've given so many good, tangible tips and ideas for any organization, let alone nonprofit arts, to really grasp onto and reignite some creative sparks in their storytelling and outreach. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, thank you. And as a side, I am starting a new position.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Well,
know.
I'll add
Yeah,
in, I will put your bio
yeah.
in the show notes.
Okay, great. And
And
so
yeah,
I'll get you that new information.
yeah, that would be great. And then hopefully we can also get a link to the Pro Musica ad that you did
Yeah.
years ago, because honestly, I just, it was so creative and unique that
Yeah, I know that Mark Rigsby, who's the director on it, still uses it to promote his services 25 years later. So that's why I always link to it.
yes.
Because he still has it up there.
Yeah. So hopefully if
I'll do
I
that.
can get permission to link to that, that would be great.
I just gave it to you. Mark
Okay.
trusts me with that, so we're good. I'll get you the link.
Perfect. And then send me whatever information about you that I can include. But I
Okay.
really do. I appreciate your time. And let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, let's do it. I really appreciate everything you're doing. So, yeah, the people like you that help make this city as interesting as it is. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Brad.
All right.
All
We'll
right, I'll
talk
talk.
soon.
Okay. Take care.
Bye, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.